They say when we die, our soul searches for a new home. But what if that home is the body of a newborn? What if that newborn is your own grandson? In Teotihuacan, an ancient Mayan belief holds that the dead can choose when to return, and into whom. Tonight, I'm telling you my story. The story of the baby born with the face of my dead father, Oaxaca, Mexico. The time, Day of the Dead. Maria Dolores Vega, 32, a history professor specializing in Mesoamerican death rituals, returns to her hometown after 6 years away. The reason? The death of her father, Don Eduardo, with whom she had a deeply painful and complicated relationship. He was a cruel man who psychologically abused the entire family for decades. While sorting through her late father's belongings in the old family home, Maria discovers a strange shrine hidden behind a false wall, something she'd never seen before. The small altar holds decaying old photographs, all with their faces scratched out or distorted except one, a young Don Eduardo. Surrounding it are crystallized black candles and symbols that don't belong to traditional Mexican Catholic iconography, but seem like a disturbing blend of Mayan rituals and something older, darker. My father hated superstitions. Why would he have something like this? Maria mutters, feeling something shift inside the wall. When she touches the damp surface, she finds the plaster soft, like flesh. Pressing harder, her fingers sink in, and something sticky oozes out, a dark red liquid that doesn't quite smell like blood but carries a sickly sweet nauseating odor. That same night, Maria learns she's 2 months pregnant. She hadn't noticed before, consumed by the stress of her father's death and her own psychological denial. A child was never in her plans. The baby's father, a fellow professor she had a brief fling with before returning to Mexico, doesn't know about the pregnancy. In the middle of the night, Maria wakes to whispers coming from her father's old bedroom. When she tries to get up, she realizes she can't move her legs. Looking down, she sees her feet sinking into the floor, as if it were quicksand. When she finally frees herself and runs to her father's room, the door is covered in a slimy, pulsating substance like a beating heart. Inside, every photograph of her father now shows the same sinister smile, no matter how old he was when the picture was taken. The most disturbing part, in every photo, his eyes seem to follow Maria, all with the same expression, as if they know something she doesn't. The next day, Maria visits the local doctor, Dr. Jimenez, an old family friend. During the ultrasound, the doctor grows visibly shaken, but insists everything is fine. When Maria demands to see the image, he hesitates. Finally, he turns the monitor, and she sees something impossible. The 2-month-old fetus already has a fully formed face, a face that's unmistakably her father's. Sometimes technology creates these illusions, the doctor says, quickly switching off the machine. But his hands tremble, and he avoids meeting Maria's eyes. As she leaves the clinic, Maria notices all the pregnant women in the waiting room staring at her with the same vacant expression. One of them smiles, revealing black-stained teeth, and whispers, "He chose you. What an honor." On the street, a blind candle vendor for the Day of the Dead grabs her arm as she passes and says, "Death isn't the end, señorita. Some have such strong will they find a way back. Others have so much hatred they refuse to leave." That night, Maria dreams of her father sitting on the edge of her bed, his face half decomposed, saying, "I found my way back, daughter. This time, I'll be your son, and you'll love me like I never loved you." She wakes screaming and feels something moving in her womb, far stronger and more defined than should be possible for a pregnancy of just 2 months. 3 months have passed. Maria's belly grows at an unnatural pace, as if the pregnancy is racing forward. The townspeople begin treating her with a mix of reverence and fear. Old women cross themselves when she passes, yet they leave offerings at her door, strange foods, amulets made from animal bones, and eyeless dolls. Maria notices her skin is changing. Faint patterns emerge on her belly, like natural tattoos resembling the symbols from the hidden shrine. When she touches these marks, she hears her father's voice whispering incomprehensible words. During a particularly violent storm, the power goes out. By candlelight, Maria realizes her reflection in the mirror doesn't quite match her movements. There's a subtle delay, as if something is trying to mimic her. When she places a hand on her belly, her reflection grins maliciously, even though her own face is frozen in terror. Desperate for answers, Maria visits Doña Consuelo, a local healer who lives near the Mayan ruins outside town. The old woman refuses to let her inside. "What you carry isn't a normal child," the crone says through the cracked door. "It's a Teolia, an ancient soul that refused to move on to Mictlan, the underworld. Your father made a pact with Mictlan Tecutli, the Lord of the Dead. He offered something precious for a new cycle of life." "What could he have offered?" Maria asks, trembling. The healer finally opens the door, revealing a face scarred with ritual marks. "He offered you, child, your pain, your sanity, your future. For a father who never loved, there's no greater sacrifice than making his daughter a slave to his own immortality." That night, Maria wakes to a wet sensation between her legs. When she turns on the light, she finds her sheets soaked not with blood, but with a black tar-like substance. Within the liquid, tiny shapes wriggle like larvae. In the bathroom, as she tries to clean herself, Maria glances in the mirror and sees her face slowly morphing into her father's. It's subtle but undeniable, the shape of her jaw, the curve of her eyes. She screams and smashes the mirror with her fist. Each shard reflects a different version of her father at varying stages of decay. In desperation, Maria resolves to end the pregnancy at any cost. She seeks out Dr. Jimenez again, but when she arrives at the clinic, it's completely empty. In his office, every surface is covered with disturbing children's drawings, all depicting a pregnant woman with a deformed creature emerging from her womb. On the doctor's desk is a single note: "Don't break the cycle. He always finds a way back." Back home, Maria is greeted by neighbors gathered at her door. They all wear traditional Day of the Dead masks. But as she draws closer, she realizes they aren't masks. Their faces have transformed into grinning skulls. They form a circle around her and begin chanting in Nahuatl, the ancient Aztec language. Inside, the house, the makeshift altar, now covers an entire wall. The photographs have multiplied on their own, showing impossible scenes. Her father holding her as a baby, something that never happened. Her father standing beside her at her graduation. He wasn't there. Her father smiling next to an empty crib. When she touches her belly, Maria feels a tiny hand grip her fingers from the inside. Something presses outward, and she sees the perfect outline of a face pushing against her stretched skin. An adult face, not a fetus's. Eyes open within her womb and stare directly into hers. A childish voice, but with the unmistakable timbre of her father, whispers from inside her body, "Soon we'll be together again, daughter. This time, forever." Time moves strangely in Oaxaca. Seasons shift in days, not months. The city streets seem to rearrange themselves at night, forming labyrinths that always lead Maria back to her father's house, no matter which way she tries to go. Her pregnancy has reached grotesque proportions. Her belly no longer looks human. The stretched skin is nearly transparent, revealing not a fetus, but what appears to be a shriveled old man, curled up and connected to her by countless black umbilical cords that spread like roots through her body. The townspeople now treat her like a saint. They leave increasingly elaborate offerings. They sacrifice animals at her doorstep. They paint their own children's faces to look like elders. Overnight, murals appear on the city's walls, depicting Maria as a modern Virgen de Guadalupe, but instead of standing on a crescent moon, she floats above a pile of corpses, all bearing the same face, her father's, in what should be her 9th month of pregnancy, but arrived in just 5. Maria realizes there's no escape. Every attempt to flee the city ends with her waking up in her bed again. Every call to the outside world is answered by the same voice, her father's, no matter what number she dials. In a final act of desperation, Maria turns to fire. If she can't save herself, she'll at least break the cycle. As she prepares, the gasoline cans, there's a knock at the door. It's Dr. Jimenez, but something's wrong. He looks decades younger than he did a few months ago. "I'm here to deliver the baby," he says, his voice a chilling blend of his own and her father's. Behind him stand all the townspeople, their faces partially transformed into the same one, Don Eduardo's. "There's no need to resist," the doctor says. "This has been happening for generations. Your father was once the son of your grandfather, who was the son of your great-grandfather. This is how our lineage endures. This is how we escape death." As he speaks, the doctor slowly peels off his face, revealing it to be a mask. Beneath it is an identical face, but younger, as if each layer holds an earlier version of the same person. Maria feels the first contraction. It's unbearably painful, as if something is tearing her apart, not just physically, but across every possible dimension of her existence. The birth unfolds between reality and nightmare. What emerges is not a baby, but a perfectly formed miniature version of her father, with the wrinkled skin of an old man, but the vital eyes of a newborn. When he cries, his wail echoes not just in the room, but inside the minds of everyone present. The doctor hands the grotesque child to Maria's arms. Unable to resist, she holds him. The baby old man smiles, revealing a mouth full of adult teeth, and whispers, "Now you'll raise me, as I should have raised you." A perfect cycle. As Maria's consciousness fades, she grasps the terrible truth. No matter how cruel her father was, a part of her always craved his love and approval. It was that unresolved longing that opened the door for his return. Her last lucid thought is, "This is the true horror. We can't escape those who hurt us the most, because part of us always wants them back." 6 years later, Maria walks through Oaxaca's central plaza, holding the hand of an unusual-looking boy. He carries himself like an elder, his eyes brimming with centuries of cruel knowledge, and he occasionally gives orders to his mother with disproportionate authority. Maria is no longer herself. Her eyes are empty, her free will long gone. In her womb, another being grows, and when she places a hand on her swollen belly, 5 small fingers press back, forming the outline of an adult hand. As she watches her son play with other children in the plaza, she notices something disturbing. Every other parent has the same vacant stare as she does. All the children have ancient eyes in young faces. And every baby born in the city in recent years shares subtle but unmistakable facial features. They all look like close relatives. The cycle isn't just hers. It's the whole city. Maybe all of Mexico. Maybe the entire world. At night, as she tucks her son into bed, he grips her face with small but unnaturally strong hands and whispers, "When this body grows old, I'll return through the next, and the next, and you'll be there to welcome me every time, because you're mine, as you always were." In the nursery prepared for the new baby, every mobile is adorned with small photographs of the same face at different ages, a face that has belonged to generations of men in the family, all with the same cruel gaze, all carrying the same soul, returning endlessly. On the nursery wall, an old black and white photograph shows a woman from the 19th century holding a baby. Upon closer inspection, the baby bears the face of Maria's father, and the woman has Maria's face. The eternal horror isn't death, but a twisted love that refuses to die, that corrupts and consumes generation after generation, in an endless cycle of trauma and return. There is no escape, only acceptance. And somewhere deep in the Mexican earth, the ancient gods of death laugh. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it. Your nightmares are welcome. In the comments below,